Hi there, this is Jeremy Gaffney, also known as Gaffer, and we are now starting our second development stream. As you well know, our game has gone viral. Our game has not yet gone viral, but it's called Gone Viral. And basically this is our post-apocalypse game where you are a gladiator fighting your way through hordes of bad guys, getting cool points, winning over audience members, hopefully both in the game and also in the real world, to gain cool loot and prizes and fame. And what we're going to do on a weekly basis is we're going to be showing off our game, showing cool new stuff as it goes in week over week. We'll do a little bit of development on stream as well to do that, and just sort of keep you in the loop about what all's going on. So let's jump into it. We'll start off by going and doing a little let's play here. Since we haven't put out a lot of public information on the game, I'll just go through a level or so, show you some neat stuff. Every run should be different because what mutations you get is going to dictate exactly what kind of run you end up with. I'll talk some about our systems as we do it. And then once I'm done with that, we'll go do a little game development type action as well, which should be fun. And so we will see. So we're starting off here in our little prison arena. We're starting off with our two basic items here, our flak jacket, which provides kind of basic protection, and our shock sword. Shock sword has two cool things you can do. You can beat up stuff, knock monsters around the room, smash them into walls, smash them into traps, all that good stuff. It also fires projectiles. Last week I was firing little mine bullets that would shock the enemy, but we've changed that to experiment with some stuff. Now I'm firing harpoons. They're going to yank monsters and pull them back to me. So this allows us to sort of have maximum, a lot of what our game's about is really positioning. I knock a guy around, I pull him back in, I smack him around. Every time I hit him, he takes damage. Every time he hits a wall, he takes damage. The cooler of a move I pull off, the more carnage is generated. And to complete the chain, the more carnage you get, the more viewers you get, the more viewers you get, the more loot you get. Which makes you make more carnage, make more viewers, makes you make more loot. And then you just explode in a big frenzy of oh my god, everything's so awesome. So let's go beat some dudes up, because that's what it's all about. So what I'm going to try to do here, yes, I can just beat dudes up, but I'm also going to try to position guys for things like pinball hits and pinball kills. I'm going to knock guys into traps, see that little spike ball there? Well, now dead, of course, because someone blew it up by shooting it with a shotgun. Let's go hit you into your friends. That got me a bunch of carnage. Kill, 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 smash, smash, smash. Our overall goal is that, yeah, if you're like a new dude, cool, just go beat dudes up. It'll be fun, it's fast paced, we're trying for a very tight control scheme. If you're a little more advanced, though, you rapidly move on from just trying to survive to trying to maximize the sheer amount of havoc you can cause. If it feels like it's cool, it ought to reward you more. That's our sort of design goal. In fact, as we have players, if you see stuff, you're like, that should have pulled off. I've hit a barrel into 17 guys and blew them up and half flew in a pit. That should have given me a massive amount of carnage. In general, it will. If not, it's a bug or something we haven't implemented yet. So let us know if you see stuff, even in the Let's Play, about that seems like it should have been super cool. Okay, arenas. Most floors have an arena on them. Arenas give you an opportunity to have multiple waves of monsters, sometimes tougher monsters. If you complete it properly, then you're going to get extra rewards. Oh, I got hit by creature synergies. In this case, we got big stomper dudes. Here, eat a spike ball. I didn't move enough. Here, go get in the pit. Get in the hole. Also, there's guys who will debuff you. This particular little friend here we have a couple of little psychic shielder type guys. I can't kill the other mobs until I get rid of them, but luckily they're pretty weak. Haha, our bots are not very smart, so they're largely killing themselves on the spikes. That's uncommon for this room, but I will happily accept it. Got a multi-kill out of it. Got a trap kill out of it. You're dying on spikes too. That was like free carnage. What's better than free carnage? Nothing. So let us go here. Oh, goodness. Please don't die. Oh, bomb spider. Bomb spider. Bomb spiders are handy because they light themselves, they light their fuse, they'll charge at you, and if you're smart, you can go use them and blow up some of their buddies. That's kind of a nice way to go about things. I am going to go move my phone nearby the desk here for a second, because that's how Doug lets me know if I goof anything up. So he'll send me a little text. Not that I'd ever goof anything up. So you want to run away from them, or use them, better yet, to kill more stuff. And you'll note here that I failed doing multiple things at once. But on the plus side, I have a particularly vindictive audience here, and so for all the carnage I have generated in this room, they've sent me a viewer airdrop. Specifically, oh, there we go. Specifically, they sent me Emperor's Boon, which is a one of them there, all stats upgrade. So that's super cool. So I'm going to have more health, I'll have more power, I'll kind of have more like everything. I'll just bop over to here and go look at what our chat has to say too. Hey there, Raza. How does the dashing system work? I'm procrastinating a school project. I have to make the control system, and dash I'm making is Garbo. So here's the tricks about dash. So what we do is, when you dash, you move, we launch the character into the air. We use the actual Unreal commands to physically move the character. Now, it's not the only way to do it, by the way. You could do an animation with like a fixed, like I am moving for X amount. But in our particular case, we launch the guy. Why? It's because that lets us have your stats matter. You know, I have a set of stats, including my character's zip, which is like our speed stat. And the more zip I have, the faster I dash. The less zip I have, I dash less far. So the benefit of doing it like as a physical launch, which we're doing in Unreal in this case, is helpful. Now, a couple things happen when you dash. We play a particle, a little smoke flare that goes off. Change the actual material on the guy. You'll see him kind of turn that like white. That means he's invulnerable while he's doing it. And in general in game, so if you research like, hey, what's a standard kind of dash, dodge rolly type maneuver? What you'll find is often the basic behavior of a dash is if you have, if your attacks freeze you in place, and it's called root motion. The animation like sort of forces you to take a step forward or whatever. You generally want dash to break you out of that. It's your way of not being trapped so you can still do some dodging type stuff. In general, you know, a lot of those dodge rolls, dash type maneuvers are going to have some level of invulnerability to them. Usually that invulnerability lasts over maybe the first quarter or so, maybe 30% of the frames. And however, that's not all the time. Right now, ours is a sort of mid-process. So we turn you invulnerable for the entirety of your dash. We give you cooldowns. You can't dash all the time because you'd be permanently invulnerable. Our next iteration of this will make you invulnerable for less time. You'll have a bit of a recovery period when your animation is done. And then we'll let you launch again. And that way it'll feel like you can dash whenever you want to, but you can't sort of dash infinitely. So knock on wood, you know, that's probably what the next iteration will look like. So if you're doing it for school project, if you're doing it in Unreal, I would probably recommend find a cool animation. You can get them, a lot of them for free. There's a bunch included with Unreal. If you look at the Infinity Blade projects that Unreal provides for you, there's a bunch of neat animations in there. There's a lot freely available. Mixamo is a great source. So get a cool looking animation. If the animation has movement baked in, that root motion I talked about, awesome. Just enable root motion and your guy will just jump. It'll feel pretty cool. Make them invulnerable. And that's a pretty good kind of like basic dash as a rule. Good animations sell a lot, you know. In our particular case, because dash makes you invulnerable, you can do stuff like get over our spikes and traps and that kind of stuff. Another question to solve is, hey, what happens when you actually bash into a monster? Because we're so much about moving stuff around, we actually take it so if I bash a monster here, if I dash into him, it knocks him back. And we'll probably limit that a bit, would be my guess, but it does allow me to crack up things like, you know, it allows me to do things like if I have a barrel or something along those lines that I don't want to light up, I don't want to cause it damage, well, I can still move it by smacking myself into it. I'll go find but not actually damaging it. So here's a good example. Okay, so I'm going to dash in the middle here. And then I have no keys, so I can't get to all the cool loot over here. I don't need repair. I don't need that. But, you know, it does open up a lot of puzzle-solving ability type stuff as well. Using add impulse does make sense. I think that's a reasonable thing to be doing. However, add impulse doesn't work well when you're dealing with characters specifically. There's another one which is launch character, which you might find is a little happier for your needs, but your mileage may vary too. It's not like we know everything about it. I've wrestled with character movement in this thing like a bunch of times just because it's pretty, twitchy about exactly how the heck it wants to work. This animation it's actually a fall animation, but kind of looks heroic, like while you dash forward. So it was a fairly standard fall that we dug up. We're custom making an animation that'll be more like, my arms are ready and I'm looking like I'm gonna leap in. You know, the kind of advanced layer is what you probably really want. Oh, interesting. Shrapnel proof here will make me immune to bomb damage. So let's go snag that. This is my mutation for the thing. So here's an example. I can move these barrels around without lighting them on fire by dashing into them, or I can swing, knock them around, and then do it. Because I'm immune to, I'm now immune to bomb damage. So I didn't take any damage from that, but I got knocked around. If I had lit this thing on fire, that would actually blow a hole in the floor, so there you go. So this is actually a pretty simple little fall anim. I'm not even playing a recovery anim when he lands, although if and when we add a delay to it, I'll probably add a recovery animation on. So even with, sort of basic assets, you can get good stuff out of it. What we tend to do is do our initial stuff using, placeholder assets, especially for our things that are based on the main skeleton, the human skeleton. And then we'll go in and we'll do custom assets after a bit. And man, I recommend it. It's a great era for being able to make stuff. In this particular case, when we've been doing our dash, there's some sort of design notes on it. This guy's pretty easy to fight if you dash. But when I've been watching new players play, which is not a lot, like I've had a few people to our office and do it, I dash in, I give him a whack, I get away. I don't have to take too much damage. If you don't notice that you have a dash button though, it's a pain in the butt. Like, it's a lot harder to do it just moving around. So a big skill jump happens once characters learn how to properly use the dash. The tips mutation, it's not really a mutation in this case. It is the audience gets stoked with you and so they make it rain and dump a bunch of stuff on you. Looking at the chat comments here for a second. Animation certainly helps. Doing our dash stuff, I don't think it didn't take us like an insanely long amount of time, but there's a lot of tweakiness to it, Who did I get a new kill? Oh, no, new kill, just a trap kill from falling. There's a double kill though. Multi-kill, trap kill, overkill. I'll take all that. That's a pretty good, good little haul. If I'm close enough, by the way, to pick up all the carnage as it falls, I get a little bonus, a little collection bonus the more I do. Now in this case, I have gained enough viewers to be able to, let's go get this. Here, get out of my way, Spike Ball. I've gained enough viewers that they have sent me a reward. Now, what viewers think of as a reward, you may or may not consider a reward. In this case, the next room I go into is Spin Doctor on it. They kind of modify the rooms as you go in, which strategically, if I had more of a choice of rooms, I don't really have a ton right now. I have exactly one room I can get to that hasn't been opened. What's going to happen here is everything in the room is going to spin. Enemies I hit spin, my bullets spin. Not only that, everything the enemy shoot spins, so everything is going to be spinning around wildly. But if I survive that, I'll actually get a little extra healing out of it if I don't take any damage. Surviving at healed's a little weak term there, but whatever. So you got the spin and you got the doctor aspects of it. So this is what's called a viewer challenge, or a viewer event generally, because sometimes they'll do stuff like they'll just give you more loot, or they'll make everything speed up. But in general, we assume that our audience is pretty sadistic and wants to see pretty awesome stuff happening to you, so there you go. So, viewer event, Spin Doctor. So everybody here's going to spin. Whoa. Ah. And you'd think it'd be easy, because, hey, why not? But everyone here is doing more damage, too. That's why bullets are bigger. Let's try to pull these guys in, but that's going to be hard because my harpoons are spinning, too. Okay. Normally, harpoons would make this easy. So let us try to aim this right. Boot. This next shot should go this direction. Yeah, there we go. Pulled one in. Good. And we even got a pinball because when I knocked him back and I pulled him into my harpoon, he hit a bunch of guys. So that was actually a pretty efficient way to end that stuff. And now, yay, our thing is over. We don't need to worry no more about it. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. I have a key to get into our shop. I have 7 coins. Seems like that is probably worthwhile. Tips wouldn't really be worth it. I'll get a bunch of consumables. I'm doing okay in consumables. Health, health never hurts. I'm okay. I also have a gadget right now, an injector that'll give me heal. I'd like that adrenaline rush. That lets me attack faster. Lets me run faster, which helps me dash over things faster. So all in all, I would be quite happy to do that. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, get out of the way. These guys are invulnerable until I take out their captain here, so let's go beat up my captain. Die. Oh, here. Hey, I have lots of bombs. Let's go use them in combat. Eat it. That was nice. Multi-hit. Here, let's see if I can set off a nuke. Get that guy. He's out of range, probably. So close. Here, get over here. Oops. There we go. Got his buddy. Got a trap kill. Got a pinball. That's a pretty good haul. 22 more carnage, almost up to 100 viewers. There's a big difference. Oh, look, we have coins embedded in a rock. However, will I get those? Why, hello, and welcome to the party. Good, I got my healing up. Got all that. Yay. More armor's always good. Now, you might be like, astute viewers may note, hey, how come I didn't get healed from my spin doctor? I haven't implemented that part of spin doctor yet because I'm lazy. So, even though I didn't get hit, I didn't get my healing. It lied blatantly. Luckily, it's mostly devs playing, so we can only complain to ourselves. I'll knock that off as like a dev task on here. Let's go into here. That's yay. I'm going to set off this nuke. It's not combat, so I'm not getting anything for it. It's just a tool to destroy stuff. Because I'm mildly psychotic. That chest might have something. Or I'm sorry, that crate might have something, but it doesn't. Crates have a pretty low chance of having cool stuff, so... but still, you know, a low chance still pays off. I don't have a time limit right now because... now, if I'm smart, I'm using these little bomb dudes here to blow up as many of the rocks as possible because there's some loot buried in the rocks. So let's try to get that done here and get over there. That timely hit. Gave me a coin. 3 coins for a key. That's kind of market value, I guess. Let's see. I got lots of bombs, so let's go do that. Now, I can change my bombs, not just by mutations, but I can actually change the basic item here that, you know, how bombs fire. So, in the game right now, we have, for instance, a missile that you can get where, you know, now your bombs, you have fewer of them, but they'll fly out, they do more damage, and they can do direct damage. So it's much better for a fighting like this boss, for instance. This boss is a bombardier who's going to be hucking all sorts of bombs at us, and he's also kind of vulnerable to bombs. So we're going to hit him with barrels. That's all nice. Oh, blew up my own barrels. We're going to hit him with these little enemy spiders. I'm going to beat him up. Can't hit him with no missiles. Now, I'm immune to explosions because of my armor, which makes me awesome. So, yay. Okay, let's hit you with your own bomb. No, because I failed. Let's hit you again with your own bomb. That'd be, yes, heck, let me drop a bomb on you for that matter, too. That is going to kick my no question. Yay. Oh, and I actually got a carnage item. What's a carnage item? These things are fueled. Now you'll see my upper left is now charged up. What this is this item gets more powerful, and you can set it off as you... oh, I was going to jump off and grab that coin, and I jumped off too slowly. The item gets more powerful as you generate more carnage. And so, because of that, what we're going to do here... why am I going down to level 3? Was I in mid-run before and I didn't notice? I don't know. Let me talk about the levels for a brief second, actually. You'll notice on each level, it'll tell you the name of the level. The first ones are in kind of a set order, and then we'll start randomizing stuff down the road, I suspect, for some of those deeper levels. Show you the boss. I'm working on the second boss right now, so we'll soon see other bosses start popping up. Right now we have the Gatekeeper, that sort of bombardier guy. And enemy upgrades is actually pretty interesting. Each level that you go down, your enemies get stronger. In this case, they gain faster, meaning that they move faster, they shoot faster. And as you might imagine, a run where you randomly have your enemies getting faster, let's pretend that happened all the way to the bottom, and now everybody's going like warp factor 98, is really different than if everybody got brute and like started moving slow, but hit for more damage. So because of that, you know, our goal really is that every run, you're not just building yourself, but the run is kind of building itself, if that makes sense, to be able to so that the run itself is different, not just like your character powers and stuff are different. Variation is a ton of what makes this kind of roguelike thing go wild. Die. That was nice. A little multi-kill pinball, like massive action there. These guys are sort of built where a really good way to fight them is knock their little... oh, hey, that's right, I'm immune to damage, but I'm not immune to him. If you beat them up with their own children, you know, that's a pretty good way of doing it. These little spiky guys do extra damage because they are all bladed and stuff. Hey, what's the odds? Same viewers are going to launch twice in a row. We're content laying, we're in production mode right now, so we're making new content, but that's kind of rare. Usually you get like a different sort of thing with it. So more spinningness. And another room that is going to be really deadly because of that. Why is it deadly? It's going to be deadly because these little spiky guys are great to knock into each other, but with Spin Doctor, they're really unpredictable. Also, there are these traps in the walls throwing those little spiky blades, and when those spin, they're deadly as heck too. So that was actually relatively well handled, but that room could have been pretty dangerous with Spin Doctor on it. So let me show off my carnage item, and then I'll probably not show off too much more, but instead go work on a little game dev type action. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of the same rooms on this run. You know, we have, I don't know, maybe 40-something rooms in place, which isn't too bad. But obviously, you know, when we launch, we want to have hundreds. So I'll go knock some rooms out, show what that kind of looks like, and then that'll give you a bit of an idea, maybe of what exactly, how easy it is in our system to be able to knock out new rooms and test them. So let's go take a look at that. You know, actually dig into a little of the game development side of things. What we got here. So here we are working on Unreal. We are using their main editor for this. Right now you'll see I've been playing on the main menu level. That's what brings up our music and all that kind of stuff. Because we're randomly generated, we don't have like levels for each of those things. We go to starting level here, and then each level is generated. It is laid out over the level, and then we load up a new, you know, then we auto-generate the next level, you know, re-stream that in. And so we're kind of working. So starting level, if we were going to go look at it, is, let's look at all the stuff. Here's everything in the game. Yeah, it's freaking empty. You know, we have a little bit of nav mesh type action here, which will handle our dynamically generated level. We have a little bit of lighting type stuff, but we have a little player start location, which is overridden once the dungeon generation is gone. But this is like a blank canvas that is filled in by procedural generation of our levels. You know, the procedural generation is cool and all, but it's not, you know, it's only been going on since like Eva. You know, I grew up on like Rogue and Larn and NetHack and that kind of stuff. Awesome. Some of my favorite games of all time. But anyway, this is what our basic level is. Level building is not really a thing for us. Instead, we build stuff by room. And then we generate levels out of what is acceptable for this level to have in it. And so let's go take a look at what that looks like. So over here in Room Editor, let us hit play, and that will bring it up. And you'll see we'll get kind of a grid-based system to be able to place down tiles over time. So for instance, here is a very simple little test room I made, which I will probably delete in the not too distant future. I made this room basically to check out very simple, like knocking guys in the guy type stuff. So, you know, it's dead simple. Let's go look at a bit more interesting room, you know, and even sort of show how to change that. So a bit more interesting room might be, let's go take a look at this fella over here. This is a room with the shovers in it. And what you'll see is that, you know, we can drag out a grid showing how long and wide the room is. We can lay down contents within it from things like, you know, the columns that are in here, what creatures are there. If it's a room with waves in it, we can attach things saying, look, the first wave is all like, you know, little robots, and the second wave is going to be all mutants. We can kind of do that on a case-by-case basis. We can also put down items, and we can put them in containers for saying things like, hey, we want this to be like a shop item and that kind of stuff. So every room you've seen in the game is in here somewhere, you know, and we have a smallish list of them now because really we're just hitting production mode now. The way game development often goes is you do prototyping, like, hey, can we even do this thing? Is it kind of fun? You do pre-production, which is usually a pretty long phase if you're smart, where you build your basic engine, you implement at least bare bones all of your features, you get it so you know, here's the basics of the game, they're pretty solid, they're not going to change. And then you start knocking out content. And this is a really fun phase of game development. It can also be surprisingly quick sometimes. If you've done your groundwork right, it's really quick. You go bang, 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 here's 10 new rooms a day. If things change, though, hey, it's really easy to mess stuff around and change your basic room layout and how the whole system works. Once you've got 200 rooms in the game that you've got to maintain, it sucks. It sucks horribly to be like, I'm going to change the space system. Now I'm going to regenerate 200 rooms or tweak 200 rooms. That's the pain of a bad production phase, is when you have to massively rework tons of content. So it makes MMO development in particular so hard. They have hundreds of hours of content, you change one base system, now all of a sudden you have to rework, or you have bugs, or you have bad stuff going on and all that content. Luckily, it's a lot easier. Single player game, infinity easier, but still not easy. So let's go make a new room, because, well, it's cool to look at rooms that exist. Let's go make a new one. We are going to name our new room. I haven't had enough room with choppers in them. We didn't even see one the entire time we're in there. So we're going to make like a simple chopper room. So let's call this one standard. What's my thing here? We'll do standard intro chopper. And we'll make this. So this is going to be, we're going to set this up so it's only on the first level. You know, it's a real simple room. We'll just kind of drag and drop our stuff here, and we'll say, it's not going to be a huge room. You know what, let's make it a bigger room. We don't really have that many big rooms around, so let's just make one kind of for fun. And we're going to say this valid level is only on, it's called vertical slice here. So you'll see this change probably in the next few weeks, but like this is our sort of placeholder way of setting levels. We're going to tie this in so that you do exact levels. One of the tricks you do when you have not done a mass ton of content is we don't do a lot of stuff that segments our content away from each other. What's that mean? Well, let's suppose you got 40 rooms that you built. Sounds like a lot. Well, if you play the game for hours, you're going to see those 40 rooms a ton. What you don't want to do is take those 40 rooms, spread them across, let's say, 10 levels of the game, and now you only have 4 rooms on the first level, 4 rooms you'll only see on the second level, etc. You've segmented it so much that your actual experience is of not that much. You know, we want to kind of be fun even as we play in development. It keeps us sane. And when we bring people in for tests, it's not fun if you're only seeing 4 frickin' rooms. So what makes sense is either to only work on your first level and then your second level, or right now we in general let the vast bulk of our rooms be playable on all levels so that if we add a new room, we get the benefits of it. We separate off level 1 because, you know, when we bring in noobs, we like watching them die, but, you know, it's a little rough if you get like a level 8, you know, room and bad guys right off the bat. So we do a little bit of segmentation, but in general, we just, when I'm playing, when I do a Let's Play, you're going to see all the rooms. There will come a point when we have a critical mass of rooms and we'll start dividing them into what you see on the first few levels versus on the deeper levels. Then we'll do another subdivision as we do more tile sets. You know, right now, when we set a room category, you can say is this standard or shop, whatever. We can also set tile set. Now, the low level is the prison, and so that's the main tile set you saw me running around in. Other tile sets include the arena tile set, where arena rooms will look different. We haven't textured yet, so we're not streaming it out, but that'll be coming soon. And then deeper levels have their own sort of custom tile sets to it. But in any case, we're going to make this be a standard room, meaning it can show up anywhere. It's in the prison tile set because it's going to be a low-level room. We've set it to go on the low levels. Can rotate's kind of interesting. Some rooms only look good from certain angles. Maybe you have machines that, you know, would look weird if you couldn't see the front face of them, and so if the game rotated the room, you couldn't really see what the machine's all about. And so you can mark a room basically as whether or not it can rotate. This one we're going to make it work from any angle, and so it can rotate just fine. Relative rarity is how often is this going to show up on the floor? You know, 100 is kind of our base, but like if you said it's 200, well, now it has 200 shares of being rolled, and so you'd see it appear more often relatively. Maybe it's 1, and now you're going to see it barely ever compared to all the other rooms that are they're in the thing. So we put in some stuff that kind of helps us here. So let's put in, this room's going to be full of choppers. Choppers are mutants with axes who go choppy, choppy, choppy. They're basic, simple melee dudes, and so I think what we'll do is, and they're wearing little VR headsets, so they can't see anything, so they sort of walk around blindly. So what let's do is this. Let's let's make a biggish room. Let's toss in some stuff in the corners, just to sort of like, maybe, you know, most of the time it spawns rocks and stuff. Maybe though sometimes it'll spawn like a special crate or a chest or something like that. But most of the time it's just gonna be something that blocks movement. And then let us, just for kicks, we have a couple of things we've automated to make our own life easier. One of those things is we have auto wall. That will auto-generate walls around the entire outsides. These walls are set up properly to, you know, you'll note that these green walls mean that they're free to become doors. We could special custom like, oh, doors can only be here, here, here. It's automatically made it so that anything near a blocker that you couldn't walk through can't be a door. It's this little gray thing means it can't be a door. Now the other thing we can do here also, and we'll just do this before we start placing much stuff, is auto floor. In the prison tile set, there's a grate, and commonly we use that around the edge of the room. And so, but it's a bit of a pain in the butt to place down. You know, I got to place little straight things here, and then I got to like do these little wiggly businesses. And so we made auto floor to basically go, bam. If this thing is going to be simple, it'll just place those floors around the outside of the room. Now this is going to be deathly simple because I think what we'll do, choppers are, you know, this is going to be a low level room. So we want to teach people what our game is really kind of all about. So let's make a pit here to be able to knock stuff into. Pit, pit, pit. How wide is this room? Because you know, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but I don't know, it just feels better somehow if it's symmetrical. So we got 4 squares of tiles, and then 5 squares of pits, 4 squares, and we have this, just for kicks, let's make this a little bit of an oddly shaped pit, just for fun. And now, so we have this nice giant pit to drop things in the middle of the room. You know what, I have a feeling this might be even too big of a pit, because look how little room things have to walk, so we'll test it to make sure. But let's guesstimate that. Let's go over here and choose a different tile. Let's just go back to our default tile, which, you know, it sort of chooses whatever's default for this level set. Let's instead shrink this a bit down to here. And to make it interesting, why don't we also, let's take some barrels and plop them down, because barrels are always fun, you know. You can knock them into enemies, but see, because choppers are blind and they're chopping around, I'll bet you that they'll probably end up wanting to hit the barrels on their own too. Let's put a barrel here, and we've got a barrel here and a barrel here. That's interesting for that. Do we want any other traps and stuff kind of set up by default? Just, this will be mostly visually interesting more than anything else, but let's go put some spikes around our pit as well, just to kind of make it interesting. Or, you know what would be even more interesting potentially would be, well, let's get rid of them spikes. Let's surround this thing with crates. That'll make a kind of interesting thing where when you're trying to knock guys in the pits, they're gonna, the crates will kind of stop them from moving in. You might have to hit them twice, but the crates might have loot. It's a simple room, you know, so we don't want to make it too complex for you, but maybe that'll be a nice, fun little distraction. Or if we love explosions, maybe we put some barrels around the pit itself, and those will sometimes fall in the pit, sometimes you light stuff on fire. You know, any of that's kind of cool. Traps are a big thing for us because it's one of the major ways to get carnage is using traps. So it's going to be a rare room where there isn't something you can, if you are smart, interact with to get extra carnage. You know, it's kind of a boring room, if not in our minds at least. So out of all that, let's go up here to objects. Let's go grab crate out of this, and let's get a wooden crate, and let's just sprinkle some crates around here, blocking us in. Maybe just be weird from those two angles. And now last up, let us go. I'm a little scared to do auto floor. I forget if the auto floor is going to take into account all these non-blocking things and try to make the floor wind around it. So I don't think I'm going to try to re-auto floor to get a grate around the middle here, but I'm thinking about it. Maybe future Jeremy will do that. So let's go grab a creature. This is a chopper room. We're going to show off basic choppers. We have a subtype of chopper called a surgeon. He may hang out with other certain nasty people that you'll meet in the future. So let's put a chopper here. Let's rotate them. They tend to walk sort of, you know, in the direction that you place them, so we're going to try to make none of them run directly into a pit. This little guy over here, let's make sure he's not facing the player, just so you don't get a free whack in the face when you're coming in. These little dudes will be here. These guys are going to potentially kamikaze into the pit, but, you know, some of that isn't too bad. Let's randomly, you don't have to make it exactly freaking... what do you call it? Symmetrical. So let's take advantage of that. So here we have a room with approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 choppers. Is that too many or too few for this room? I'm not sure. Let's find out. Even though it's a simple room, let's give them one extra creature to hang out with. Something hopefully that synergizes well with blind melee guys. So let us pop in a little shooter guy. We could have someone who might be fun. This might be a good room for a shover. They'll run around and shove stuff in places. We'll need to make sure he doesn't immediately run into the pit. We'll test that in a second to find out what direction he tends to choose to wander. But shovers are pretty cool because they knock guys all over the place, and him knocking around all these blind dudes and running into barrels, these guys chopping up the barrels and pits. It should be a room that looks pretty frenetic, but is actually easy enough to be a level 1 room. So I'm going to bet that that's okay. So we'll save our room. Now when we save our room, it saves the data in a way that sort of adds it to our project. And so I'm going to re-import the thing that got exported. This has been exported into JSON, and then it gets reloaded back into the game. It says it's not checked out, but it is actually checked out. We also save in another fashion into a save game, but it's not that interesting, so we won't dig into it too much. Now let's go test our room. You'll note down here at the bottom it says level to load. If we hit Shift F12, it's going to be a level that we generate. One of the pains you might surprise you is that it's actually a bit of a pain to test sometimes when you have RNG involved. You know, if we were to go just wander around until we found that room in a dungeon, it might not show up for hours. So here we've built a very simple little level, and this level is going to be formed entirely of this one room. You know, in dev mode here, I've now exposed my map, and you can see that every room here is, you know, basically going to be this chop room. So let's go in, and my expectation here is that some guys will be facing in the wrong direction, or they'll immediately choose to turn and drop into, you know, the pit and stuff. We don't want too much of that. A little bit of that's okay, but you don't want to make people feel like the enemies are too stupid. It's not the enemies that are stupid, it's the designer who put them there that's stupid. So we'll sort of see how the AI works in this room, figure out if anyone needs to rotate, figure out if the room's too hard, all that stuff. So let's go in and find our new room. Here we have blind choppers, all smashing stuff. That's pretty good. No one fell in a pit. We know. Here, you meet your brother over here. That guy's just wandering around. Now when he sees us, he's going to charge. That's pretty interesting. That's not too bad. This seems like a pretty good little room. These guys won't hit each other while they are chopping. I'm pretty safe in here because not much is actually going to aggro on me. This guy will aggro on me, but you know, I can dodge him. I'm a skilled player, man. I've been playing this game for about a year, so I'm not too worried about it. For newbies, that's probably about right. Oh, here, give me. Here, suck it up. Here, meet your brother. Oh, kill your brother. Oh, good. Double kill. You get in the hole. You are going to bounce you over here and maybe eat a barrel. Ah, not quite. Here, suck it. And bad, good. Here, collect extra carnage. So I would say, net, that's not a bad, like, initial success. Nobody wandered too far in. There's not much here in terms of interesting loot, and so I'm not sure that, but there's a chance of it from all the crates. It's a pretty simple room. Is that interesting enough? I don't know. Everybody's kind of, it's a pretty slow-paced room, to be honest with you. I'm not sure we shouldn't toss in like an extra creature or two to spice it up. But let's go find another room. We'll kind of see. Okay, that's all good. You get in there, you get in there. Now, any fast-pacedness here, though, is going to come from me, because none of these guys are really going to chase me down. It's fine. Oh, I can't hit that guy from the front. See the shield. Here, die. He's too big to generally wallop. Ugh, get over there. I would say it's probably not quite easy enough to get carnage out of here. And I would say also... Here. I would say, even though, see, it's really tough. It's very easy to make rooms a little too challenging. I'll tell you what, let's go mix it up a little bit, and we'll toss in some more monsters here that are a little more, maybe, synergistic with this. Crusher's kind of cool, actually. Check this out. This is a mutation. Even Tesla was the audience still like, yeah, we love you. So, normally if I were to hit a creature and he hit a rock or something, nothing would happen. Now, though, with Crusher, creatures will destroy rocks once they're wild. Only really once they're wild. And so... now, if I were to see something cool locked behind here, you know, oh, hey, there's a creature, hey, there's rocks, oh, bam, and I can use them to smash all the rocks. So, it's a subtle effect, but it's actually quite a handy one. So let's go add in some more synergistic creatures into this thing. Let us go back into Room Editor. Synergistic, what's that mean? You probably know this if you have ever played the Binding Isaac or Gungeon or any of those kind of things. We try to make stuff so it all meshes nicely together from the standpoint of a design thing, but also inside the game, our real goal is that, you know, everything you do, everything you get has good odds of synergizing with other stuff. Hey, I got a thing that makes enemies I hit sprout blades. Oh, hey, I made a thing that enemies when they're walloped, you know, spit fire. Now I have spinning bladed enemies that are on fire. Oh, I got something that'll slow them down. Now they're in the fire for longer. You know, things that add up, you know, that synergizes. Those are the kind of synergies we sort of want. In this particular case, we're going to get another creature here. Let's lose. I thought that shover would be fun, but he really seemed a little boring. He wasn't doing much for me here. Let's get a creature and null out the creature and get rid of him. We can do stompers, who will leap around and stomp on stuff. But you know what? Let's just try to make a kind of, let's make a crowded little room here. That's mostly about positioning yourself and being able to knock stuff in there. And then we'll expand that pit a tad, and so you'll have a kind of crowded exterior, but a lot of area to knock guys into. I think that'll be okay. My initial instincts maybe were right. So let's get rid of our crates here. Oh, I don't want to place that. Let's do this. There you go. Null out. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go add some more pits. Almost tempted to add it. You know, why don't I do spikes? That'll give still more things, but it won't be quite as crowded. It's almost like I was right the first time. We'll do interval spikes. Those are the ones that go up and come down. Boom, 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 boom. Now let us go in the creature mode so we can rotate that chopper so we can immediately walk on the spikes. This guy's in a little bit of danger. He's going to go hit that fuse barrel most of the time now. Let's send him this way. Then, to make this room a little more crowded and dangerous, a couple things we do. One is we could clump the enemies. That would actually let you, kind of have to deal with one-on-one. But I think that maybe a better answer yet would be, let's mix in another wandering enemy. These will be little mini spike spiders. These guys are trivial kills. One hit, they're dead. However, they're spiked. So they do more damage to things into which they're walloped, or if you wallop things into them, because those spikes deal damage. If they bump into you, they also deal damage. So let's dump a bunch of these guys around. We'll rotate them in different directions so that they, they're wanderers. It's not going to really matter which direction they face, because they're just going to go charging off on their own anyway. This might be too crowded of a room. I'm leery when I make rooms. I tend to dash through doors. I try to avoid having, so if you go through one of these potential doors, that there's any spot where you're like, bam, you're dead. So that's why I've given this little cushion around the outside of the room. I could cheat a bit. I could block off some of these from being doors. Now I could have a couple of creatures closer to the wall, but this is usually a pretty good setup, has been my understanding. We're going to save, and then we're going to shift F12. As soon as I've seen the little save success notice, and yata, let us go check out our new fierce room. And because we just generated a new level, I don't think, I probably lost my mutation and stuff that I'd gained, but that's okay. This isn't really about advancement. It's about advancing science right now. Okay, so we got our little spike spiders. They aren't damaging each other. That's good. Ooh, here, extra damage. Extra damage. Oh, look, they went down much faster. This is crowded, but I honestly don't think this is too crowded. And each little thing I have here, he's trivial creature, so I kind of need to involve him in other stuff if he's going to really generate carnage. He's too simple, so we don't give any carnage points for just a kill of him, even a trap kill of him. Ah, that was all good. Overkill, trap kill. Okay, that felt pretty good. And I walk into a stupid little creature that's just wandering around. That felt pretty good to me. Let's go check it out and make sure that was not a mistake. That's not going to get me any carnage, but that... Here, bang, bang, bang. Oh, no, not enough carnage. Multi-kill, trap kill. Good, yes. Oh, I didn't even see you over there. I can get multi-kills on these dudes. Let's try to get a bunch of these guys. It wasn't too bad of a shot, I gotta say. You get on there. Gosh, I make these guys give trap kills? Kill them? We still don't like you farming trivial creatures now. Oh, that would have been cool if he was still alive. Ended him, but that's okay. Okay, and die. They do add to multi-kills, so if I could have timed that right. Or dead. Now, remember Spin Doctor? This is my common thing. The, something interesting we're doing from a design standpoint, and then I'll wrap things up here, I think, is there's an issue. So, if you were playing Isaac, and you take, I can't remember the name of the passive, but, there's something that lets stuff spin around. What's the name of it? Am I blanking? There's like 2 items that do it. Anyway, Tiny Planet, for instance. It's kind of annoying. You tend not to pick it up. There's not really any benefit to you. But we actually do something neat. When you pick up things that are like, oh, we think the viewers like this, it tends to raise your it. It is the stat here with a little star. In this case, just for picking up that item, I can shoot a little faster. This is Fury. It's my attack speed. I can hit things farther, and I got more it. What it means is that I get more carnage from stuff, and things that it serves our need for. It's like the it factor, that indefinable, like what makes you cool. In this particular case, get in there. Because viewers like that kind of stuff, our proto viewers here, every other hit was not working on him. I need to go check code and make sure that's a bug, not a feature. I think I know why that is. I'll have a little bug fixing after this. Anyway, because viewers like it, we give you more it, and that means your stuff procs more often. We use it for things like procking. We use it for loot drops. We use it for things that affect the audience, and so there's a benefit for cranking up that kind of odd feature. And on top of that, and so if you're going to take on something zany, that doesn't necessarily serve a direct purpose. Usually it's going to have an indirect purpose as well as it goes. So let's do one more of these now with this going. Just kind of say these are dangerous now that I have an orbit, but that's okay. Here you get over there. Good. Also, I have a bunch of special moves some of which I'll hook up probably in a future episode for things like giving a curveball kill. If you hit a guy while you have orbit active, giving an extra bonus carnage or 2 for doing a pinball hit. You get the bonuses from having your it high right now, but I haven't added in those special moves, and I will. I have them in code, actually, but I haven't actually hooked them up to do it. So that's a good example of something easy I might do later. So that's probably a good thing. Let's go test this room one more time, but I'll tell you, I like this room. I think I'm going to bless it and put it in the thing. Oh, that's funny. I need to adjust the height of those things. This says blades on it, which means all of us have spinning blades wrapped around us that are going to deal damage on contact. So I could run into these dudes to do it. The viewers are cruel. He did extra damage here because his blades is hitting stuff as he goes along. Ow, I took damage from bumping into that thing because of blades. I need to adjust that attachment point. I hand adjust for buffs the different attachment points. We had a lot of stuff on the things. But I just changed his asset. Chris made me a new asset the other day. Our art director, Christian Lightner. Ooh, that's a nice place to get a hit. Here, die, pinball hits, etc. Just that asset. So I'm going to tweak that a bit to make that look better when they bend over and stuff. Again, probably a future episode material, or I'll get around to it next week anyway. But anyway, enough pointing out flaws and stuff, because it's not all about that. So that's a pretty good summary of what it's like for room generation for us. I am going to pop into the room editor for 1 second. I'm going to make sure we have everything set right, because from memory, there's one setting I should still tweak, which is I can decide if this is on every floor or if it's only on the starting floor. So let's go take a look at it. It is set right now for every floor, and I think that's okay. So yes, we are set to be okay for starting vertical slice. And we'll set it to be on for regular vertical slice. And again, you'll even see these get a little more rambunctious over time. I think this is a pretty cool room, so I think the normal rarity is fine. It's not so special. If there's a lot of loot in it, maybe we'd make it be a little rarer to make up for the fact that it's giving you free stuff. Standards right. I'd say this is a net win. And so we'll do a save here. And next time we play the game, there's now going to be a chance that we see this room inside of our actual game. And that took what? So here it's now... That took us about like 20 minutes so to make. That's about right. And test. It's not like you're not going to tweak stuff in the future, because yes, indeed, you are going to... let's make sure we import. It's not like you're not going to tweak stuff in the future, because it's not like you're going to make mistakes, or you get in there and see it live, or certain mutations make it rough, or certain viewer events might be like impossible in a given room. Hey, everyone is spinning blades. The whole thing's full of barrels, and so now all the barrels get lit immediately. So we need to test with lots of those kind of things in the future, also through gameplay, but that's a pretty good general example of what is likely to be a final room in the game. It's going to improve magically as we go. Why? Because as we have more decor that comes in randomly, it's going to look prettier on its own. As we add in more viewer events, it's going to get more interesting, because that room with Spin Doctor might be quite a lot of fun with the pit in the middle. It might be quite deadly because of, with different viewer events as well. And so those all add variety to that room. As monster behaviors improve, that helps the room. All those things over time really make even a basic room get cooler and cooler without us even touching the initial room. Some, of course, will break it. That's when we go and we'll tweak it afterwards to make sure everything works together. So by the time we get to launch, we want to make sure that it's polished. It works well with all those different elements. Even the random ones are cool. If nukes drop in that room, there's enough room, for instance, that big pits are blown in the floor, that it would still work rather well. I'd say that's a pretty good example of like how to knock out a room in 20 minutes. It's a pretty fun room, meets our needs, works well for low levels. It'll work well for high levels. I'd say that's a go. So now you got to think, if we want, let's suppose we want another 200 rooms in, knock one out every 20 minutes. Hey, look, we're only 4,000 minutes away from having all our rooms done. So sweet. That's like next Tuesday or something. So it'll be a little slower than that, but we'll see. So anyway, that'll do for our live stream. Thank you for joining us. We're live streaming right now every Thursday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard, or Pacific Daylight, as the case may be. And feel free to, any comments, get in touch with us. Our website is going live with cool stuff on it. Feel free to as well. We're going to be asking folks to start signing up who are interested in the longer haul to join our betas. Because we need tons of testers. The joy of RNG is need to test the crap out of it. Right now, obviously, we're in pre-alpha mode, meaning that we're not doing a lot of public testing. We bring the occasional friend or family over to test out. But the stuff's kind of flowing in the game fast, so we'll probably move that along. We're in a production mode, meaning that we are churning out tons of content right now. There's 3 of us at the core. We're a small shop, but we have lots of friends who help out, do some contracting, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty easy to add new stuff in the game. You'll see a lot of that coming up in future weeks about just how easy that is. Rooms are fast, even while you're talking. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Once again, I'm Jeremy Gaffney from Skullbot, and thank you for watching our stream. We'll catch you next week.